Hey, what's up? It's PDX Guitar Freak, and welcome to my lesson on how to play the guitar solo from Van Halen's Panama. Now, before we get started, it's important that you do two things to prepare for this solo. First, you've got to tune your guitar down 1/2 step, just like Van Halen does. So E becomes E flat, A becomes A flat, D becomes D flat, etc. You know the drill. And the second thing I need you to do is reach down between my legs and ease the seat back. Sorry you couldn't resist. That's my favorite part of the song. I love that breakdown after the solo where David Lee Roth gets all sultry. Alright, let's go ahead and jump on into it. So section 1, I'm going to play it a couple times slowly and then we'll break it down. Again. One more time. That's a pretty basic section or lick there. Very Chuck Berry-ish, very classic rock like. My advice is when you do those 9th fret bends on the G string, before you play the 7th fret of the B and E, before you do that, I typically stop the 9th fret notes so they don't blend. So for example, if you let them blend, sometimes by bending up on one string and then playing other notes, the other notes get a little bit out of tune because you're using a Floyd, most likely. So I tend to not let them blend, if that makes sense. And then you'll notice that the third time, after the third bend at the 9th fret of the G, that I don't hit both of those strings. I hit them both, and then I just hit the B string. You can hit them both twice, 3 times. Most people aren't going to notice. And then you have that kind of unison bend where you bring it down. Provides a little bit of that dissonance in there. Pretty cool sound. Make sure you capture that. Other than that, this is a pretty straightforward lick, so let's go ahead and jump on into section 2. Now this next section is a little bit trickier. I'll play it a couple times slowly, then we'll break it down. Now I know that bend at the end may sound a little bit funny because I'm doing a 1 step and then a 1.5, but that is what Eddie does, and I'll prove it to you in a minute with the isolated guitar track from the original song. But first, look at the section that I have in the box right now. For that, in order to facilitate easier playing there, you're going to want to bar your index finger across the 7th fret of the high E and B strings, and you're going to want to do all upstrokes. You can alternate pick it if you want, but if you do all upstrokes, it's kind of like economy picking or sweeping. It's going to be much easier. I used to torture myself and do the alternate picking method with that section, and then I realized it's so much easier if you just do all upstrokes, right? Kind of like this. It's going to allow you to do it much quicker, much easier, kind of like sweeping or economy picking. It's much more efficient. You can alternate pick it if you want, but you'll figure out what works best for you. And then finally at the end, that bend, most people just do a full step bend twice. But if you listen to the original, you'll hear Eddie go up 1.5 steps on the second time, like before doing that open G pull off. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to play you the isolated guitar track that someone pulled from the original song. I'll play it at full speed and then we'll play it at slow speed, and you'll hear him. He'll do that 1.5 step bend. Here's section 3 slowly. Again. One more time. Very classic kind of Eddie tapping lick, not too difficult. I'm not sure what more I can explain there, but you will notice, again, I'm doing some more bending with my index finger. This is something that Van Halen does a lot. And he's probably one of the first guitar players that when I was learning to play guitar initially, I noticed was doing that. And at first it's uncomfortable. It's not something you see a lot of guitar players doing. I've seen Jeff Beck and others do it too. But it's just not something you see people do a lot. Usually, if they're doing a bend with their index finger, it's just like a little quarter, it's like a half step bend or a quarter step bend. They're not usually doing that much. But it helps because you've got your guitar tuned down 1/2 step. It helps that if you're using a Floyd, because that gives you a little bit of play when you're bending. And using 9-gauge strings like Eddie does, that helps. All right. Oh, and then at the end, of course, there's that little accidental pull off to the open G. That's there. All right, let's move on to the last section. Now here's the last section. Play it slowly. Again. One more time. A couple things I want to point out there. That 7th fret on the D string note, a lot of people miss that. It is in most of the tabs that I've seen. More importantly, it is in the actual song. If you do listen to the isolated guitar track, it's there. It goes by so quickly and it's like so subtle, but it's there. It's almost like Eddie's finger just kind of went over it, picked that note as it was going down to the 9th fret of the A string. It just happens so quick, but it's there. And then finally, when you do that last bend at the 7th fret, as you're doing it, you're going to turn your volume knob down. I can't tell you how far to do it because it's going to depend on your guitar, but you want to find that right spot to get it to the right volume level for that note down there. Went a little too far that time, because that gets you ready for the next part of the song where you start doing that. And depending on your guitar, sometimes you have to go down pretty far, sometimes you don't have to go down far at all. Sometimes you have to fart. Sometimes you don't go down far at all. It just depends on your guitar and how sensitive the volume knob is, or how quickly it gets to the right level. Hope that makes sense. Not much more I can explain about that section. Alright, that was my lesson on how to play the guitar solo from Van Halen's Panama. If you have any questions, let me know. I'll answer them as time allows. And as always, I appreciate all the comments, subscriptions, likes, favorites, all that stuff. So until next time, rock on.